Hey there, movie fans. I know what you're thinking. We're a day late on this brand new FYC, but we are not $1 short because we are live. Live! If you're watching, we're live. If you got super chat questions to ask us, get them ready because we are live. We're going to answer your questions right now because we have a great new FYC. We are revisiting our predictions for Best Picture. The reason why we are doing that before we get to the screenplay nominations is because we've seen a lot more of these movies and we can now make much more informed decisions on our predictions for the top 10 nominations for Best Picture. I know we're still 4 months away from the nominations exactly. It's November 1st and the actually 4 months away from the show itself because the Oscars are on September 2nd, 2005. But right now, me, the amazing Perri Nemiroff, and the mighty Jeff Snyder, we are going to revisit our nominations for Best Picture. But before we do that, make sure you just I got your attention right now. Scroll down a little bit. Right when you see that little subscribe button. If you are not a subscriber to Perri Nemiroff's YouTube channel, do that right now. Also, if you are not a subscriber to the insnyder.com, do that right now. All right, without further ado, let's get to those 10 Best Picture nominations. So, Perri, now that you've seen more of the films, does that change your 10 at all?
It does. It changes my 10 a good deal. I do think that my top 3, or if not 4, have stayed pretty much the same. And I will always preface by saying, like, things could change, still the beginning of the season, but I still think that those have the strongest foundation. And if I'm predicting what's most likely to get nominated, I am more willing to place my bets on things that have already proven they have staying power versus some of the newer releases or the ones that are upcoming. But do you want me to just jump in and say what I've got at number 1?
Not yet.
Okay.
I asked Jeff the same question.
Scott has a master plan here.
Clearly.
All right, Jeff, what about you? Has your 10 changed at all? Have your top 4, as Perri pointed out, changed at all?
Not really. I'm pretty stubborn like that. I commit to an idea and I stick with it. I mean, The only movie that I'm sort of willing to relent on based on the buzz is Wicked.
Wicked, yes.
Is Wicked. But I still have it in 11th, basically. So we can have that conversation when we get down there.
Well, it's funny you should say that because, first of all, like Perri, my top 4 have stayed the same. I think actually my ranking of my top 4 have also stayed the same. But then when you get to 5 and onwards, now that we've seen, or certainly I've seen, I know you guys have too, a lot of these nominees, they were, I left them off the list or I put them in honorable mentions because I just could not make an informed decision, but I certainly can now. And that made getting to the bottom couple a little bit harder because there are movies that I really, really love that deserve to be in the top 10 that, my head is thinking that, they're not getting talked about enough. I think it's going to be tough. But without further ado, Perri, I think I know what your number 1 is. It probably matches mine and Jeff's. So just say it.
I don't know. I can't quite remember if we were all in line here. I'm sticking with Emilia Pérez in my top spot. So as the movie continues to spread, I know that some people like it more than others. So there is a little bit of a divide, but I still think there's so much enthusiasm behind the folks coming from the folks who are super into it that I think it's going to power through in a lot of categories. And, I'll just bring this up because I had mentioned it quite a bit when I did that one Q&A for Brendan Fraser. And I'm like, oh my God, that audience response when everyone came out, that was like a next level special kind of energy. And I felt the same thing for the Emilia Pérez cast at the SAG screening that I just moderated. And I said the same thing after the TIFF screening too, when everyone was sitting in that audience, just like buzzing from the energy of the film. And they were so excited to hear from the creators at the Q&A. I think that energy is something that's going to stay and it's going to make the difference here. So it's still my number 1.
All right, Jeff, how about you? Is Emilia Pérez your number 1?
No.
Where is it?
First of all, I think I'm going to see it tonight. So I wish this episode had taped like 24 hours later, because I think I'm going to check it out tonight. But I have it at number 2 at the
Okay.
moment.
2's good.
And I think, you probably have a point about the cast, right? And I think that cast could win 2 Oscars. But The Whale did not win Best Picture,
Right.
It wasn't a 1-for-1 in that respect.
Yes, I know.
Well,
I'm thinking, Emilia Pérez, I mean, it sounds great and it looks great to me, but it also sounds a little bit divisive.
Well, I still have it at my number 1. I just to discover a movie like this, if you will, a Telluride, at a 9 a.m. screening when I was definitely wide awake after some Starbucks. But I love this movie. I adore it. It's just a really special, unique, exhilarating film like no other movie this year. And I just think there is certainly in the little bubble of awards predictors, Oscarologists, pundits, what have you, like us and a lot of our peers, in that sense, Emilia Pérez is beloved, and I'm firm in keeping it at number 1, like Perri. But Jeff, what is your number 1?
My number 1 is The Brutalist.
Number 1 is The Brutalist. All right, okay, it's on my list.
I think that The Brutalist is epic, and Emilia Pérez may be epic in a similar way, but The Brutalist to me is the one to beat right now. I haven't seen a bunch of movies that you guys have though. So,
Perri,
I have The Brutalist at number 4. I still have a lot of faith in this movie, but it does feel to me like, I don't know, like A24 is kind of like waiting in the wings as far as the award season campaign goes, and it hasn't quite like burst out the gate like some of these other films have. And I think that's just impacting my predictions right this very second. I do think that can change, and I think there could be a very real possibility where in a couple of weeks or months, I'm also calling The Brutalist my number 1. Right now it's my number 4.
I have The Brutalist down at number 7. So I know it sounds like, oh my God, how could you have it way down at number 7? But it's still getting nominated. And I think Perri brings up a good point. It's just not being talked about enough yet to make it like, oh my God, like you point out, Jeff, this is the one to beat. I think it definitely gets nominated. It's an excellent, excellent, epic film. 3.5 hours, and I did not feel that it was that long at all, even with an intermission. It's a fantastic movie directed by Brady Corbett, starring Adrian Brody and Felicity Jones and Guy Pearce, all of whom certainly Adrian Brody for lead actor and Felicity Jones for supporting actress will get nominated. But, there are other films that have screened lately that people are going like kind of apeshit for that maybe have to push down The Brutalist until The Brutalist starts getting more traction, and in which case, like we always point out, we'll revisit Best Picture again, and that could go up. So, Perri, you have Brutalist at 4. Jeff, you have it at number 1. I have it at number 7. My number 2, which stayed at number 2, is September 5, and that's what it's called. It's called September 5, not September 5th. That's what I was told. It's not September 5th. It's September 5. So noted correction there. I think this is an excellent film that is starting to screen around, and it is starting to gain more traction now that Paramount officially picked it up, and they're going to release it the week after Thanksgiving. I think it's November 27th, and it is going to be one of 3 award season movies, including Gladiator II and Better Man. But I love this movie. I think it's a fantastic film. And as it does gain more traction, I think keeping it at number 2 is a safe bet. It's getting nominated. So, Jeff, do you have September 5 anywhere on your list?
I have it at number 8 right now.
8? Ouch. Okay, well, that's still a nomination. Okay. Why only at 8?
I haven't seen the movie, Scott. I mean, if Paramount would like me to mention it in the top 4 movies, I got to see the movie. Until then, it's going to stay down at 8.
All right. Perri, what about you?
It's number 7 for me. It is slowly moving up the list. And because you mentioned these 2 titles, I probably won't give my whole Gladiator 2 spiel just yet. But I do think that Gladiator 2 and A Better Man don't have the greatest Oscar chances. And I have a feeling that the folks at Paramount are going to come to realize that sooner rather than later. And they're going to put even more resources behind a very deserving September 5.
Ooh, so hot takes from Nemiroff.
I see this one at 7 right now, but with a good chance of going up, up, up.
Well, one of those other movies you mentioned, I do have on my list now, which was an honorable mention before. But okay, we'll get to that in a moment. But yes, September 5. Can't wait for you to see it, Jeff, because I really do think you're going to like it. All right. So, Perri, your number two.
My number two is Anora. I love this movie. This is another one that just has that all-consuming energy, and I think there's a lot, especially because this one's in theaters now. I think there's a lot of people out there really feeling it, and also getting behind this ensemble. There's just so much enthusiasm for Mikey Madison and really everybody around her. And I think collective. I know we're talking about Best Picture, but I think enthusiasm for individuals winds up having a collective impact on the Best Picture race, and I think it's going to push this one up to the top of the charts, and I think it's going to stay there.
Well, I love the Anora as well. I have it at number 3. Honestly, I was like going back and forth between September 5 and Anora for my number 2, because I love Anora, and it's definitely getting more talked about and more attention than September 5 right now. But I mean, 2, 3, potato. It's really.
I have it at number 3 as well, Anora. I think it's definitely in the conversation for the win, but I just don't think it's the kind of movie that punches through and hits the finish line at the end of the day.
Well, it could, because of 2 things. It is being released by Neon, the studio behind Parasite, which 5 years ago won the Palme d'Or, the top prize at the Cannes Film Festival, just like Anora did.
Yeah, that's like saying Blitz is going to win Best Picture because Coda did. I don't know.
Okay, I was not going to say that, but Jeff.
I'm just saying, we're always like, well, Neon released it. Neon released Parasite. I mean, I don't know.
Well, Neon, I should say, Anora is a much better and more well-liked and reviewed, well, at least at this point, than Blitz is. All right, so Jeff has it at number 3. Perri has Anora at number 2. I have it at number 3. So what are we looking at, Jeff? What's next on your list? You're number 4, right?
Yeah.
What is it?
Oh, God. It really speaks to how, literally, it speaks to what a weak year this is, that I think Conclave is number 4.
Oh, I thought you were going to say something else.
Oh, I said God, so.
Oh.
Well, I have Conclave at number 4 as well. The movie is in theaters now. If you have not seen Conclave, check it out. It is awesome. A really, really fascinating behind-the-scenes look at the Vatican while they're going around picking their...
It's good. It's like a good movie, but I don't think it's great.
I think it's great, and it has an awesome ending. And I just feel like this is like the kind of movie that has Oscar contender written all over it. I think it's really going to hit with the Academy when it comes time for the nominations. Perri, where's Conclave on your list?
Conclave is still quite high on my list. It's number 3, and this is another one where I think it came out the gate real hot, and I don't see it losing steam, of course, because it's in the midst of its release, whereas others are going to get that luxury a little later on. But right now, I have no reason to bump Conclave lower on this list. So it's my number 3.
All right. Good choice for your number 3. Perri, what's your number 4?
I already hit my number 4. It's The Brutalist. Can I say my number 5?
Yeah, go for it.
I'm so excited about this. So you all know I'm a very, very big Wicked fan. I haven't seen the movie yet. I was very sad that I wasn't part of the wave of first reactions, but I do get to see it next week. I'm always very skeptical when I haven't seen a movie, especially when it's a really big, highly anticipated studio release, when those first reactions come out and I'm like, oh, do I buy into it or do I not? And wait until I see it. There is something about like the verbiage being used in some of these Wicked first reactions that has me believe that they did this adaptation right. And this truly is going to be something that's really special. So right now I have it at my number 5. And, given what we keep saying with some of these other titles with, like they might be really good, but they're a little divisive. This to me is starting to sound like a studio release that is going to be so widely beloved that it could wind up being a top contender for the win towards the end of the season. So I am very excited about all of these early reactions.
Did you say Wicked is going to could win Best Picture? Is that what you just said?
Dude, based on these reactions, I mean, I don't want to call out... I don't want to get super specific calling things out, but there's something about the Wicked reactions and how highly it's being praised that I believe more so than certain other movies that have been released recently that are not living up to that kind of hype.
Okay, so can I give an informed opinion on this? Because I did see Wicked. I just saw it yesterday morning. and it is the real deal. I think it's absolutely fantastic. It is. I don't know. I don't want to say skeptical about it, but I just hadn't been seeing or hearing too much about it up until this first screening, and it, like, when it was over, I went, "Wow!" Everyone applauded. It is a fantastic movie by any measure, not just a fantastic musical. Cynthia Erivo, Ariana Grande are amazing individually and together. It is a rousing film, and it's a little long. It's about 2 hours and 40 minutes, but it flew by. The production design, the sets, the wardrobe, the costume design. Like, this is a film that is going to get a whole lot of nominations, including Best Picture. Should get nominated for Best Director for John M. Chu. Should get lead actress and supporting actress. I don't know where they're putting Cynthia and Ariana, if they're both lead actress or one's lead, one's supporting. Jeff, do you know?
One's lead, one's supporting. Cynthia's lead and Ariana's supporting.
Oh, okay. Well, Cynthia is amazing. What an arc that she has in this movie. Now, a lot of questions I've been getting, and this doesn't spoil anything, but they're, it's only part one. It's Wicked Part 1. Does it feel like a complete movie? Or does, and the answer is yes, it is absolutely a complete movie. Of course, there is going to be a part 2 a year from now, but part 1, it's a Best Picture contender all the way. And that's why I have it at number 5. So, right. Let's see, Perri, if you have it at 5, I have it at 5, having seen it. It's incredible. I was like speechless when it was over. I mean, the hair and the makeup, like all of those like tech categories, sound, music, score, key grip, whatever that gets nominated for, Wicked is the real deal. And for people who weren't really sure about it, I'm telling you, don't worry, it's awesome. So there you go.
Hey, Mance, I'm just going to take a moment to bring up a particular comment because I see a lot of negativity in the live chat right now, and I don't love it. So, Barbara, I do appreciate you sharing your opinion, but one thing we don't do on FYC is call anybody dumb for their opinion. We love when you jump in the live chat and tell us why you think our opinions might not be aligned with how the race is going to pan out, but you always do so respectfully. So I'll ask you to do the same, and also everybody in the live chat, because we like to have fun and keep the good vibes going on FYC. So please respect that.
Yeah, please be cool, people, Barbara.
Dude, look at how nice Scott and Perri are. Let me tell you all right now, we're never doing another fucking live episode based on what I'm seeing in the chat today. The chat is fucking garbage, and you all need to shape up your fucking act. This is why I left Twitter. You're all horrible.
Okay. With that, Jeff, is Wicked on your list, buddy boy?
I have Wicked at 11.
11?
Fine. I'll take you putting it at 11 versus where that conversation was a couple of weeks ago.
There you go. I'm improving. But yeah, I mean, shit. If you think you have the goods, Universal, send over a fucking invite. Until then, I don't want to hear nothing out of you.
All right. Well, Jeff, I can't wait for you to see Wicked, and I can't wait for you to see September 5. In fact, next time I get an invite for either of those movies, I'm going to go, and you're going to be my date. How do you like that?
Wonderful. Can't
All
wait.
Right. All right, so let's move on to Perri, your number 6.
Here's where I turn around on something. So, and I feel like I'm going to have to start to teeter into my analysis of another movie with this. I have bumped Dune all the way up to my number 6. And that was after sitting here saying for a good while that I didn't think it was going to get a nomination. But I also said at the beginning of FYC this season that a lot of my faith in Dune was heavily tied to what I thought about Gladiator II. Not necessarily because that's how films should be assessed, but just in terms of how this race often operates. We usually only have room for 1 or 2 big studio contenders, and there's just there's too many similarities in terms of, the types of films that I guess Dune and Gladiator 2 are. But having seen Gladiator 2 now, I think that one has completely fallen off pretty much all of my Oscar prediction lists. And I think with that, Dune is on the rise. And also, when you talk about campaigning, I do think Warner Brothers is pushing real damn hard right now for that movie. And I'm curious to see if it continues to build, but I'm starting to buy into it, clearly.
All right, Jeff, what about you? Is Dune Part 2 on your list?
Yes, it's also at number 6, same as Perri. I mean, I've always thought this movie left me this is the movie that left me speechless. Like I did not care for Dune. So yeah, exactly. So when I saw Dune 2 and it was fucking great, I was like, whoa, like this is totally different. Much better.
I still have Dune on my list. It's number 8, which is not to say that it won't rise up. And I say that because my number 6 is Gladiator 2. I loved it. I thought it was great. I went into that one too, thinking like how they're going to make a sequel to an Oscar-winning Best Picture, and I thought that this was as good as it could possibly get. I thought Paul Mescal was great. I love the build up to the ending, and it was an emotional moment that was totally earned. I have Gladiator 2 at number 6, but Perri, you don't have it on your list at all.
Oh,
Jeff,
no, it's like not. I don't think the movie. I don't want to say, like I really strongly dislike the movie. I'm very much in the middle on the movie, but I do strongly believe that it is not an Oscar-worthy movie.
Yeah, I think it gets nominated, and I think it's opening because it's opening the same weekend as Wicked. I think you're going to see another Barbenheimer situation where both movies really help each other, and where you had Barbenheimer, you're going to have Wickedator on.
Barbenheimer was not the first time that two big movies came out on the same day. I mean,
no, it's not.
This is not a Barbenheimer situation.
I get it when the quality of both movies is sky high. In this particular case, for me, I think the Gladiator 2 hype is way overblown, and it's a movie that is filled with curious characters and good ideas, and none of them are fleshed out as well as they should be.
I have it at number 7.
You have in 2008 you had The Dark Knight and Mamma Mia opening the same weekend in July of 2008.
Yeah, no one called that Dark Knight a Mia. I mean,
well, I mean, look. What is it? Barbie and Oppenheimer made a whole lot more money, and it was after the pandemic, so it was a big welcome back to theaters for a lot of people. Also, on June 4th, 1982, Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan and Poltergeist opened on the same day.
I thought you were going to say Ghostbusters and Gremlins.
Okay, Ghostbusters and Gremlins. So, see, Jeff, there are some Barbenheimer situations there.
There's a bunch of them. That's why it's not unique. It's not. We don't. I don't. Anyways, we can.
All right. Anyway, I have Gladiator at 6. Jeff has it at 7. Perri doesn't have it at all. So, all right, then let's see, Jeff. What's next on your list that we didn't get to?
My number 5, Sight Unseen, a movie that some people think is going to win Best Picture, which I do not see. But that would be the Bob Dylan movie, The Complete Unknown. I've heard conflicting things. I've heard Timmy is amazing, and then other people say Monica Barbaro is the clear standout in the movie. So I don't know what's going on here. I mean, the voice sounds great. Like, I don't know if they just released something where he was singing, and it is amazing.
I can't wait to see it. I mean, Dylan is up there with me with the Beatles, and I love movies like that. James Mangold did Walk the Line about Johnny Cash. I love that movie that came out in 2005. I'm really excited about A Complete Unknown. But right now,
is this on your list?
It's not on my list yet. It's not on my list yet because I think it could be a situation where the actors get more attention than the movie itself. I hope I'm wrong. And when I see the film and we do Best Picture again, that could change. A Complete Unknown, Perri, is it on your list?
Not yet. This is one that I feel like I need to see to really believe that the Oscar packaging on the movie pays off.
Right. Okay. All right. So then, where are we? Perri, what's next on your list?
Next on my list, I believe brings me to number 8, which I have Sing Sing there. The more I pay attention to the talk with that movie, I do understand A24 has The Brutalist, and I think that could hurt Sing Sing's chances with that movie taking away too much of the spotlight. But it's had a very long road, and I do know that can work against it as well. But the more people I talk to about that movie, the more I hear the kind of excitement and passion for it that would speak to how something, maybe a smaller film in comparison to some of the others we're talking about right now, winds up, keeping pace enough and, for lack of better terms, sneaking into the race when we're talking about much more heavy hitters in this category. So I am still thinking that Sing Sing gets in here.
Jeff, do you have Sing Sing on your list?
I do.
Wow.
I think Perri is onto something with the passion vote. I think Sing Sing's going to get a lot of top 3 votes from people sticking up for the little guy, and I have it at 9.
See, I had Sing Sing on my list the last time we did Best Picture. Now I have it as my number 1 honorable mention. I had to actually move it off because a movie that I rewatched that I love, and everyone loves this movie, is The Substance. Since I have at number 9, it is a movie that everyone I know who has seen the film has loved it, and it's great. It's just an awesome.
Did I ever tell you my Substance recommendation story? It's a good one.
Okay, let's hear it.
My brother and his wife were going out for their anniversary dinner and a movie date, and they had tickets to see Joker 2, and I was like, "Ooh, Joker 2, not good." So they returned the tickets, and they asked like about these other movies, and I said, "Oh, The Substance is amazing," but I didn't realize it was like their anniversary thing. He calls me later that night. Okay, he's like, "Jeff, Lauren wants to divorce me." Like, that movie was the worst piece of shit I've ever seen. And I was like, listen, I didn't like the last 15 minutes of it, but like, otherwise it's a masterpiece until then. He's like, dude, I've never seen a worse movie. I hate you. You ruined the night. Goodbye.
Well, maybe not a good date movie, but it's an excellent, excellent film.
I set him up for that one.
I mean, that could be another film where the film itself might be too far out. But Demi Moore, I feel like she's practically a lock for a nomination for lead actress. Margot Qualley, possibly. I mean, I think she deserves supporting actress. I mean, maybe it's another situation like A Complete Unknown where the acting gets attention over the film. But or I feel like this everyone loves this movie, so that would include hopefully voters. And I'm just sort of like taking a swing here and putting it at number 9 on my list. Do either of you have The Substance on your list?
I do.
What?
All right.
So
you think that The Substance is going to get nominated?
Hold on. I will admit my 9 and 10 positions lean a little more towards for me than making an accurate prediction, but I will also say that those 9 and 10 positions feel extremely up in the air. Yeah. And like a lot of titles have the opportunity to snatch those spots. And I do think one of them is definitely The Substance. Jeff, I feel like you're going to hate this reasoning, but one thing that I think about pretty often, because obviously like my life is on this screen in this box and I live on YouTube all the time. And a lot of times I think like a little way to get at what like the larger audience can think of something is when I look at the performance of an interview that I've done long term and the types of comments that it continues to get as more people discover the film. And I'll tell you, that is above and beyond one of our most successful TIFF interviews, and the way that people are, you know, not only jumping in and saying like, oh, I love Demi Moore, I love Margot Qualley, but like engaging with the material and saying like how much it like moved them, it terrified them or whatnot. I think that it's, you know, in a sense like Sing Sing. I do think that is speaking to a different kind of passion for a film. And I think that passion is what gets the smaller releases into these categories.
Wow. I mean, again, I love it. I thought it was incredible. But I that's why I think it's going to get a screenplay nomination, because of those ideas that you just talked about, right? And because it is something that starts it leads to a great conversation. But picture is just a stretch too far. I just don't think voters are thinking of it like that. I hope I'm wrong. I would love you to both be right, but I have a different genre movie.
I gotta say. I think I know what it is, but you know, I'm seeing that movie on Thursday if it's what I think it is. Go ahead.
Oh, wow. Take me to that one.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, my number 10. I'm sticking with fucking Nosferatu, and remember that I'll be the first one. Okay, I was the only one, so I am stubbornly sticking with it.
All right, Jeff, you could be my date. All right, sounds good. Yes, the November 7th for Thursday night. You and me, buddy. Right? Just like Substance.
I can't.
Why?
I already have a date with one Matthew Nost to see Gladiator 2.
Oh.
They finally invited me to that.
You're so high on Nosferatu. I feel like you should see that over Gladiator 2.
I probably should, but I promised Nost I would take him, and I can't do that to a buddy, you know.
All right. No.
Thank you though, Scott.
Keep your mind. Let me know. Okay, so Nosferatu is your number 10. I don't have that on my list at all. So nice try, Shay.
I don't yet, but I will say the fact that it's screening so early is getting me to warm up to the idea that it could be a potential contender.
Could be.
That one I definitely need to see before committing to it, though.
The last film I have, and this is a movie I'm keeping on my list. I just adore this movie. It opened in select theaters this weekend. Is A Real Pain, written and directed by Jesse Eisenberg, starring Eisenberg and Emmy winner Kieran Culkin. This movie is so rich and deep and profound and poignant, so well acted, so well written. I think of all these films on this list, it is the movie, or certainly on my list anyway, it's the one that left me with the most emotion, the most where it stayed with me longer than any of the films. And that's saying a lot because Emilia Pérez and September 5th and Anora are movies, and Wicked too, part 1, are all movies that definitely stay with me long after the film. But I love A Real Pain. I really, really hope that's my, like Perri, you like to have like a me pick. This is my me pick, is A Real Pain. Do either of you have that on your list?
Get rid of this Babcock lady. I can't stand her. Get her out of here.
All right. I have A Real Pain very high up on my honorable mentions list.
Okay. I knew that was a big,
but I no, I don't think it's necessarily a big swing, but I do think it's very much on the cusp and not in the race for
Jeff,
me yet.
on your list?
A Real Pain? No, it's down at like 14 for me. It's too thin. It's like an 82-minute movie, without credits and stuff. Yes, it's like barely over 80 minutes, and just didn't hit me with the emotion that a movie with that subject matter really should. I thought Kieran Culkin was great. I think he's going to get nominated, maybe a screenplay nomination. And that's about it.
Well, yeah, maybe original screenplay might be his best bet. But I'm hoping that movie gains traction as it expands in the next couple weeks. Are any movies missing from your list, guys?
One.
Which one?
I've got one. So this is my number 9, and I'll admit that this might be a big swing, but this is another one that I think is only going to pick up steam as the season progresses and as more people have seen it, because I think part of the problem with this one is not a lot of people have seen it still. I'm going with I'm Still Here, which I brought up on a couple of episodes in more than one category, actually. I saw this one at TIFF. I was wildly moved by it. It is based on a true story, of course, too, which I think is really going to rock people to their cores. And I think right now at this point in time, it's like a sure thing for an international feature nomination. But I do think with more people in the voting body having seen it, we're going to wind up having one of those conversations where we're like, could it get nominated in both? And I do think it has a very real chance of getting a Best Picture nomination.
Real Pain is excellent. I finally, I'm Not Here is excellent. I finally got a chance to see it. I would love to put that on my list once more people see it and start talking about it. Jeff, any other movies on your list?
No, we hit all mine. So can we all run down before we talk about maybe honorable mentions and the other movies that are on the fringe? Can we all run down our 10 and then I can sort of start to calculate what our actual list might look like?
Okay, so we all agree on the following.
No. Just do your 10. Yeah.
Ready? Emilia Pérez, Anora, Conclave, The Brutalist, Wicked, Dune Part 2, September 5, Sing Sing, I'm Still Here, The Substance.
Okay, Scott.
Wait, are these my 10?
Yeah, just do your 10. Yeah.
Okay, so Emilia Pérez, September 5, Anora, Conclave, Wicked, Gladiator, Brutalist, Real Pain, Substance, Dune 2.
You went too fast. Brutalist.
Sorry, Brutalist, A Real Pain, Substance, Dune 2.
Okay. And I have my 10 for me. So let me, now I have it all in front of me. I can at least start to figure it out. Are there any other movies that we want to talk about?
Nope.
Blitz, The Room Next Door, Baby Girl, Nickel Boys.
But Blitz, The Room Next Door. I mean, I love The Room Next Door. I feel like enough people are not talking about it yet. So I'm going to save that for the next time we do Best Picture and hope that lands on the list. Blitz, I loved, again, I don't feel like enough people were talking about it. So There you go.
Why are they just like dropping that? I mean, they literally just abandoned that movie. It's
Probably
wild.
because weren't the reactions out of the first screenings very mixed?
Yeah, still.
I mean,
like, I don't
I
know.
get
This is
if
Steve McQueen.
if I'm thinking of like the awards campaign mentality and how much money is often spent on those, the first thing that happens is highly mixed. I feel like then you drop that and you spend your money elsewhere. Not that should be how these things happen, but I'm just trying to predict what they're thinking. I will say I'm curious to see how the conversation around Nickel Boys evolves, because I think there's a lot of really great things happening in that movie from the filmmaking perspective, but I'm curious to see how many people wind up being on board with the perspective that story is told from and how it's shot. I for one thought it was pretty well done and effective, but I know I've heard some others falling on the opposite side of that divide.
All right, Jeff. So what are we looking at for our 10?
I mean, okay, Emilia Pérez is in. Anora is in. Conclave is in. Brutalist is in. Dune 2 is in. September 5 is in. Sing Sing is in. Gladiator 2 is in.
Ugh.
And then I think it's Wicked and
Yeah.
Substance.
The
So
substance.
how many is that?
That's 10.
That's 10. All right. Well, there you go.
So it's
Say that again.
so hold on. It's Wicked and Substance, and then in place of on my list, in place of Nosferatu and A Complete Unknown. I think you guys are definitely sleeping on this Dylan movie. I mean,
I'm not sleeping on it. If I see when I see it, if I like it,
like it's crazy that we're putting the Substance on over the Bob Dylan movie right now. That's a crazy thing, but that's the way it shook out.
The Substance. I saw something online that it was a comparison of the shots in The Substance compared to the shots in The Shining, and there are a lot of things about the way the direction of
masterfully directed. No, I'm not. Corley is a genius.
No, but I mean, they were comparing like this the screen, the shots of The Shining compared to the shots in The Substance. And I love The Shining. It's one of my favorite movies ever. Definitely my favorite scary movie ever.
I'll run it down again. Emilia Pérez, Anora, The Brutalist, Conclave, Dune 2, Gladiator 2, September 5, Sing Sing, Wicked, Substance.
That's the list, baby. That's the list. We'll see what happens.
You're sure you don't want to reconsider the Bob Dylan thing?
Not until I see it. Not until I see it, or even not until people see it. Anyone sees it.
Fair enough.
I'm very, very, very excited about A Complete Unknown. I cannot wait, and I feel like, again, James Mangold, when he makes movies that don't involve Indiana Jones, he makes great movies. I mean, really, he's an extraordinary filmmaker.
You guys both went 9 for 10, right?
Yeah.
One of you, a real pain, and I'm still here. Or whatever. Okay, I went 8 for 10.
All right, so we take those super chats, Perri.
Yes,
that we should. All right, we're kicking it off with Mike K. Jeff, you were pretty dismissive of Conclave as an awards contender, but now that more people have seen it, do you think it could gain more momentum in the race?
No, I'm still dismissive of it, and I don't hear anybody coming out of those screenings like raving about Ralph Fiennes. I mean, again, a good anchor. He's solid in the movie, deserves an Oscar because of his career, but against Adrian Brody, not even a count. I have a question.
Ralph Fiennes deserves an Oscar for The Menu. He should have been nominated. He should have won for that. That movie was awesome. Perri, what do you think? Do you think Conclave will gain more momentum?
It is seeming that way. I actually have had the opposite experience that Jeff has had, with people coming out and expressing so much enthusiasm, which is why I keep it where I've had it on my list this whole time. I think it's firmly in this race.
All right, let's go. Next one.
Next one is Julius. Just want to show support because you guys rule. I hope Dune 2 wins, even though it's not going to happen. I hope you guys have a good weekend, and go Dogs.
Go Dogs. Hey, go Dodgers. Let's hear for the Dodgers.
Yeah.
Woohoo!
Hey, and they won. The Jets won. But go Jets. Nobody else? All right, just me. We have Mike K here with another one. I'm going to continue to be bullish about the Wild Robot sneaking into the top 10, even though the competition is stiff this year. I mean, Mike's not off. I have seen a bunch of lists out there that have the Wild Robot on Best Picture as an animated film.
Wild Robot's amazing. I think best animated feature, it's between Wild Robot and Inside Out 2 at this point. I would love to see Wild Robot get into the Big Ten, but it is competitive. And Jeff, you made a comment, this wasn't a good year for movies. I beg to differ. I think this has been an excellent year for movies. And it feels like the good old days before.
Different thing. A good year for movies is a different thing than a good year for Oscar movies.
Okay, well, fair enough. But I feel like this year's contenders, it feels like the good old days before the pandemic. That's how I feel about it. Anyway.
I don't know. If I were talking about Conclave at 4.
All right. Anyway, Perri, what else we got?
All right. This next one comes from JMH66611. You guys are the best. Loved Mance's Q&A with Andrew Garfield at the Grove last month. Any shot Challengers or Hitman makes a comeback?
I think Challengers is kind of out, even though I think it's excellent. I love that movie. Hitman, I still love it. I would love to see it get into Best Picture top 10. I think the best chance for Hitman will probably be adapted screenplay for both Richard Linklater and Glenn Powell, because Glenn Powell wrote it with Linklater. I would love to see Glenn Powell get into lead actor, but it just, once it dropped on Netflix, unfortunately, people, it didn't maintain the momentum it had up until it did. And I love the bus ads that I saw, promoting the movie, but I think that's still a problem is, when movies drop on streaming services, it's, they just kind of get lost, but if you haven't seen Hitman, if you're watching this or listening to this FYC and you haven't seen Hitman, it's on Netflix. Please watch it. It's great. I still love it. It's one of my personal favorite movies of the year. And sure, I would love to be surprised and see it get into the Best Picture top 10.
I think that both of these movies, their chances have come and gone. I like them both. I don't think it's making it into any race.
I agree.
All right, we're up to Rishi. Early reactions are notoriously overly positive or overly negative. There is rarely nuance. I align with Jeff. Need to wait before moving Wicked so far up. I respect that. I get that.
I love Wicked. I really was surprised by how much I love the film. It's extraordinary. I mean, it's going to get a lot of nominations. I really, anyway.
It would truly be a dream come true. As someone who's been calling Wicked her most anticipated film of 2024, the fact that it would not only be good, but good enough to pop up in a number of categories would just delight me to no end.
All right, moving on.
Max up next. Hey, Jeff, I missed the hot mic this week. Here's some support. I love all three of your work. Sending some positivity during this live show. FY, see you later.
Way to go, Max.
Max.
Thanks a lot, buddy.
We appreciate ya. Hello, Mike Joyce. The Apprentice movie was great, but made no money and faded away. Do you think its awards chances go up if He Who Must Not Be Named wins?
Definitely not. I think the opposite happens. I think its awards chances flatline if he wins.
But you know what, Mike? I don't know if you saw it. Okay, Mike saw The Apprentice. I agree, Mike. The Apprentice is a great film. I was really surprised by how much I liked that movie because of He Who Must Not Be Named. But yeah, I don't know. I just don't think it gets anything, unfortunately. I remember the movie W. I don't know if I brought this up here in the past, but W. Directed by Oliver Stone, starring Josh Brolin as George W. Bush, came out in October of 2008, like a month before that election in which Obama won. Nobody saw the film. People were tired of seeing George W. Bush on the news, and they're not going to go see a movie about him. And now, that's even more true about a movie about Donald Trump.
All right, we've got Jonathan up next. Hello, saw The Apprentice last night. Good movie. Not a likely Best Picture nomination, but crossing fingers for Jeremy Strong to get a supporting actor nomination.
Jeremy Strong deserves to get nominated, just like Sebastian Stan deserves to get a lead actor nomination. Both performances are fantastic, but the answer to the previous question holds here. I just don't think the movie gets any Oscar attention, not even like a screenplay, which it deserves. Jeff?
I watched it, the first half of it last night again, and Jeremy Strong is fucking amazing.
Yeah.
He
All
is
right.
quite good in that role. We have George now. I've been a fan of FYC since the Collider days, and I just love you three. My favorite awards predictors, hands down. Rooting for The Substance and Wicked in Best Picture. I am so in line with you right now, George.
Yes.
Anybody else?
Yes.
Wicked, The Substance. See all the love for The Substance, Jeff?
Yes.
I know there's love for it out there. I mean, I told my brother, I was like, well, you're wrong. But it just doesn't strike me as an Academy thing.
All right, let's keep moving. EK, back in February, you all said no chance Wicked would get any Oscar buzz. I am glad you're all on board now.
See what happens, EK, when you actually see a movie.
and admittedly, that first trailer was a little underwhelming.
Yeah. I mean, I remember when we were all back at the CinemaCon and they showed all this footage, but didn't show any musical performances. And I thought that was odd. But, clearly Universal knows what it's doing because that movie's definitely going to get a lot of attention.
Oh, yeah. Calvin says, would love to see a collab episode with the Oscars expert. Would be really interesting to see the different opinions and predictions.
Yeah, well, we'll reach out and see if they're open for a collab.
Curious bitch. Thank you for your support, Calvin. And finally, here we have Griffin. You are all the best part of my award season. Finding people excited about the Oscars as much as me is the best. Y'all make me smile. This comment made me smile, Griffin. Thank you.
Thank you, Griffin. Awesome. Really appreciate your support. Really appreciate all of your support. Let us know what you think of our re-predictions of the Oscar-nominated Best Pictures, our predictions for them in the comments section. And be nice, please. Make sure you subscribe to Perri's channel. Scroll down a little bit. See that little subscribe button? It's right there. Wait, I'm going to scroll down right here too. Yeah, see it? It's right there. So subscribe. What are you waiting for? And make sure you subscribe to Jeff Snyder's newsletter, theinsnyder.com. Make sure it was brought up just a moment ago. Jeff's other show with my great friend Johnny Roca, The Hot Mic, which is on the John Roca's YouTube channel. That's always a fun conversation, and things get kind of spicy, which makes it an even more fun conversation. And if you live in SoCal, you can watch Channel 5, KTLA. You can catch me there some mornings, also doing interviews and doing AM news and PM news and so on. And it's a really fun place to work, or you can watch it on KTLA.com. Until the next episode of FYC, thanks for watching us live, and FY. See you later.